the hips don't lie. Dr. Nicholas Mercer with You Improve PT. I know you're not used to seeing me a little worse for wear, but I just got back from working out, doing some strength training, doing some squats. And while I was doing some corrective exercises, I was thinking about how people get hip impingement when they are performing a deep squat or trying to squat and strength train. Now, this used to happen to me too when I would go about close to parallel in my squats or really any other movement where I had to bring my hip above 90 degrees, it would actually start to pinch in the front of my hips. And one reason, now that I'm a doctor of physical therapy, I can understand this a little better. One reason that lowering into those movements can increase the pain is you may be lacking some eccentric control of the gluteus maximus, which is one of basically the major hip extensor. And what this will do is control the position of your pelvis when you're in closed chain. So when your feet are flat on the ground, and you're performing movements such as the squat, it will help hold your hip in position as you go into your squat, especially into deep flexion. Now, we want that to be held in neutral. However, if we're lacking eccentric control of the glutes and they're basically turned off, we're going to get excessive anterior pelvic tilt. And that is going to basically make everything in the front of the hip jam up and run into each other and restrict your range of motion and cause that pinching and hip pain when you get about 90 degrees or below. So there's a few things that we can do to help train this eccentric control, one of which is to train it directly, get the glute max muscles activated in an eccentric way. And you basically do that by lying on your back, letting your knee go below 90 degrees, and then pulling that knee towards you, but your knee is pushing against it. So we're activating the hip extensors isometrically. And then you're going to basically fighting yourself, right? Your hands are fighting your knee's fighting your hands. You're going to let yourself, keeping the tension in the glute, let yourself pull the knee closer and closer to the chest, making sure your core is active and that glute is still turned on. So your hands are just barely winning. What we want is only going so far that we don't get the hip impingement pain. Once you start to get that, relax, decrease the range of motion, and then do the same thing and keep working that up. And then what you're going to do, instead of having your hands behind you or overhead when you squat, you're going to put your hands in front of you and have that weight shifted forward. This will allow you to contract the stomach a little better and squeeze the glutes and keep the pelvis in neutral, especially if you're lacking some ankle dorsiflexion, in order to get lower into your squat and allowing your hip extensors to eccentrically control that movement on the way down. So the next time you're squatting and you're getting that pain in the front of your hips, start out with those two exercises and then try to load it, maintain that position, make sure that you're either checking yourself out in a mirror or filming yourself and looking at your form or having someone else check it for you, and maintaining that neutral pelvis. And we're not anteriorly pelvic tilting because that is going to make everything in the front of your hips jam up. All right. So again, it's not a magic bullet. This one thing isn't going to fix your hips. However, what can really, really help and has helped a lot of people is a specialized custom program designed for your hips. Now, a lot of times that can be difficult to find. That is why I put together the Hip Impingement Solution, which you can find which you can get at the hipimpigementsolution.com. There will be a link in the description below. And what this basically is the culmination of my years and years of experience suffering from FAI, hip impingement labral tears, but also a lot of exercises and techniques that have helped people that I know who have had hip impingement. And what I've done is taken several tests that I have learned in school, modified them to make them self-tests to identify your deficits, and then direct you to the specific exercises that are going to help you decrease those deficits, improve those deficits, so that your hips can function like healthy hips should. So if you're interested in getting one of the Hip Impingement Solution programs, go to the hipimpigementsolution.com. If you're not ready for that, completely fine. Go to youimprovept.com. From there, you can get some more free information on ending hip pain, or you can check out the rest of the videos on our YouTube channel. We have a lot of videos on hip impingement. I'll actually link a playlist up above for hip impingement. And get in contact with us. Let us know how you're doing, what you're struggling with. We'd love to hear from you and help you improve your pain, improve your movement, and improve your life.